Well, good morning and welcome back to yet another installment
of Rapid Licks.
Alright kids, so today I've got a wondrous rapid lick for you. This is basically based around pivot arpeggios, a technique you need to know. And I've gone ahead and called this lesson Pivot Arpeggios for Breakfast, mostly because it's still kind of early in the morning here, and I'm still having my coffee, so there is that. Okay, so before we get going, just a couple of housekeeping things to take care of. I've designed this entire lick basically around G major. We're going to kind of ascend in G major, and then we're going to descend because I was told I don't do enough licks with descending phrases here, so we're going to do that. I do listen. So this lick is also broken down into 2 licks with a bonus sweep at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and like label these just for teaching so you can fast forward whichever one you want. All right, that whole lick played slowly just so you can kind of get a grasp for this. Something kind of like that. All right, so the first half of this obviously is just basically ascending through good old G major. So just locate yourself up here on the 15th fret of the low E string and just work your way through the G major scale. And this is basically all we're going to be using to do this sequence. I'll put up a little picture to that somewhere around here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. All right, so to play this lick, basically what I want you to do is locate yourself up here on the E string on the 15th fret, which happens to be a G. We're in G major, this works. And we're just going to go up through the G major scale. So play that once, skip the 2nd degree and come all the way up here to the 19th fret on the E string. And I'm just hammering like that. Then on your A string, middle finger right here on the 17th fret, and you pick that. So we have this so far. Now what I want you to do is come on right there to the 16th fret of your D string. You pick that once, and you're going to hammer on to the 19th fret of that string. Like that. So here's what we got so far. Okay. Now when I'm doing this, I'm kind of just doing all downstrokes. You can do it like that, or you can do downstroke, 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 and then pick that with an upstroke if you like. Whatever feels comfortable. A lot of people like this one because this sets you up to go back for a downstroke on the next thing. So that's the first piece of the phrase. Okay. Now for the next thing, we're going to basically do something very similar, but just start one string back. So on the A string. So on the A string, you're going to be playing the 15th fret on the A. Hammer on to the 19 with your middle finger there. You're going to be playing on the 17th fret of your D string. So we've got... And then we're going to repeat the exact same position on the next string. So basically we're just going to be doing on the G16, hammering on to the 19. So we've got this so far. Okay, this is where the pattern gets a little bit different. Now what you're going to do is come back here onto your D string. You're going to play the 16, hammer on to the 19, middle finger there, you're going to pick the 17th fret on the G string. And then we're going to go wide here, and we're going to do the B string on the 15th fret, pick that once. And you can hammer on or play the 19th. So we've got this so far all together. Okay, you with me? Perfect. Now, of course, this is a repeating sequence. We're going to jump back again onto the G string. You're going to pick that once on the 17, hammer on to the 19, middle finger onto the B string now. Right there on the 17, pick that once, and we're carrying on through to the 15th fret on the high E string, and you can hammer or pick onto the 19. Okay, so that entire phrase looks like this. And you can already see this at this point, obviously. We're just moving through G major, but in extended positioning, right? Simple as that, folks. Okay, so now that we got that lick down, let's do the second lick. All right, so this one basically is going to be pivot arpeggios. Now this is the meat and potatoes of this lesson. This is a great little kind of thing to understand and wrap your brain around. We're going to start it up here, doing this kind of thing. So basically for this, we're just going to be using chord shapes, and we're only going to be using major or minor chord shapes. Now, the thing about this is we're going to be doing these as seventh chords to make it a pivot arpeggio. So you already probably know this arpeggio. You already know that's E minor. We've got root, that's a minor third, that's the fifth. So for a pivot arpeggio, the only difference here is now we're going to be doing, we're just going to add that note right there, which is the 15th fret on the B string. Now the way this works and the way that sounds neat is this is now in E minor 7. And you can see you can loop these things and they sound great. So that's the one shape we're going to use. That there is the minor 7th shape. So just remember that one. And they all kind of pivot around the root, hence the pivot arpeggio. Okay, so that's the first shape. The second shape is going to be the major pivot arpeggio. Now, I'm just going to show this to you in E for simplicity so you understand the concept. We know that's E. So the difference between a major and a minor, of course, is the third. So that's a minor third. A major third is 1 fret up. So we know that that is a major arpeggio. So we've got 17 on the B, we've got 16 on the high E, and then we've got our same 19. So root, major third this time, fifth. Just like that. Now for a major 7th arpeggio, the only addition is instead of a minor 7, we use a major 7. So just like with the minor third, shift it up 1, and we've got this. So I'm playing right there is just below my root, 1 semitone, major 7th, which happens to be, in this instance, the 16th fret on my B string. So these are the two shapes. Okay, you got your minor 7. Okay, then you've got your major 7. Just like that, all right, folks? Okay, so to actually play this, we're going to be doing the minor arpeggio twice. Just like that. Oh, and one thing to note too is when I'm doing these arpeggios, I'm starting off each sequence on the higher string, so on the 5th degree. So I'm starting this one obviously on the 19th. Right? So that means that they're always going to start at the top of the sequence, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, so we've done our E minor arpeggio, E minor 7 arpeggio twice. Just like that. All right, so for our next shape, if we know that's E, we're down here following the scale. We're now on a D. So we're going to be playing a D major arpeggio, D major 7, which will sound kind of like this. Okay, so this is what we got so far. Make sure you play everything twice. So we've got E minor 7. Then we've got C major 7. Then we shift down here one more time. Scale degree is going to start here on the C. We're going to do a C major arpeggio. We're going to shift again. Now we're going to be doing a B minor 7 arpeggio. We're going to shift again. Now we're doing an A minor arpeggio. Shift again. Now we're into our G major 7 arpeggio. Which makes a lot of sense because we're in the key of G major. So, I mean, you can just resolve on that G when you're done, or you can do the crazy little sweep thing at the end. One thing to note, of course, we're just following the scale degrees down. If you know your scale theory and your chord theory for some of these things, you know that technically that D major 7 isn't in the scale. You're not going to have too much of an issue using this, but really that should be a dominant 7. But don't worry about that stuff for now. We're going to be just fine with the regular major and minor 7th arpeggios, okay? Okay, so let's play that lick together slowly. Okay, got it? Perfect. Next lick. All Alright, so in the intro lick, when I finished doing my 2 repetitions of the very last G major 7 arpeggio, like that, you probably noticed I did a sweep. So all I'm doing there is when you finish right there on your B, which is the high E string 7th fret. So basically I've already plucked that note, which is the B. I come up here, and that's my G from G major, so I'm playing the G on the 8th fret of the B string. Then I come back here and I play the 7th fret of the G string. Then I move up here one more and I'm playing on the 9th fret of the D string. And then I'm resolving sort of here on the G note, which is located on the 10th fret of your A string. So it'll be like this. Okay? That's the sweep through, and this is all kind of upstrokes. Now, what I do here is, once I get to that note, I usually stop, and then I switch to downstrokes to come back through the sweep. And this is really rocket science, people. All you're gonna do is the same thing, but backwards. So, starting on the 10th fret of the A string, downstroke. Then we're down here onto the 9th fret of the D string. Then we're back onto the 7th fret of your G string. Then we're back onto the 8th fret of the B string. Then we're onto the 7th fret of the E string. So we've got this. Now, that's not the end of the phrase, as you noticed. What I do is I hammer on to the 10th fret on the high E string, which happens to be a D. So we've got this. Then I take my middle finger here and I tap right there, which is a G. So that's the 15th fret on the high E string, which is a G. And then what I do is when I pull off, I make sure I get my hand back here onto the 3rd fret of the E string when I release, like that, because now I'm just releasing back to another G. And we're in G major, so this all sounds like gravy. Okay, so it'll sound kind of like this. Okay, and that's how that ends. So that entire sequence played slowly would look a little bit like this. Something like that. Oh, that's good. So there you have it, pivot arpeggios for breakfast. I hope you found this lick useful. Hope you learned something. This is a really popular kind of phrase. These little pivot arpeggios, they're really quick to play because you can hammer on, pull off, kind of sweep them a little if you like. Really don't worry too much about what you're doing with your pick. Just make sure you're hitting all the notes and you'll get the desired effect. Really neat, very useful. If you're improvising in just about any key, you know, you can find these things embedded everywhere. And feel free to experiment. You don't need to play them the way that I just play them. You can play them on multiple different strings. You can, you know, stagger and sequence them. You could do stuff like that. Like, you can move them around however you want. It doesn't really matter. Very versatile shape. Easy to employ in just about any scenario. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this lick. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you did learn anything and found this useful, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button to try and help this channel grow a little bit. And again, if there's anything specific you'd like to see on this channel, please make sure you leave me a comment down below. I do read those, and I do try to design these lessons based around what you guys want to see. It helps me make content you want to click on, which makes this channel grow. So basically, help me help you by helping me, okay? Anyhow, that is it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.